everyone, Kristina Werner here. Welcome to another video for StamPtember.com. Today I'm using the Got Cake stamp set from the Greeting Farm. This is a collaboration set for STAMPtember, and it is limited edition. So if you would like to pick up the stamp set, you might want to do it quick because once it's gone, it's gone. Now, the Greeting Farm is a company that I have used for many years in my crafting, and one of the reasons why I love them so much is because when I started with my Copic coloring years ago, these are the images that I loved. I loved coloring hair and people, and their images are very well known for having large areas of hair. So if you love to color hair, or if you want to learn how to color hair a little bit better, the Greeting Farm has so many images for you to have fun with. Now, please forgive me. I somehow was not recording when I first started coloring her face, but then I noticed that I had not hit record. So we're coming in this, a few minutes in, but you're going to see most of the shading and coming in here, and also the shading of her arms and legs, like the other areas of skin shown on her. So basically I just have 3 colors of brown, making sure I use the darkest shades right underneath her hair where it would sort of be overhanging onto her face and casting a shadow, and then also on the bottom areas of her arms, and some shadow from her dress. When it comes to her hair, I'm going to start with the darkest color that I've chosen, which is E79, and I'm flicking out from the ends. The way I look at this when I do Copic coloring with hair, which I haven't done in a long time, so this is really fun, is that the areas of the hair that would have highlight on them, I want to keep those nice and bright and light. And the darkest areas would be the areas closest to her scalp and her head, but also the other end of those strands as well. So if you have a dark area on one end, you're going to have a dark area on the other. And then I just switch out into a little bit lighter colors and keep flicking toward that center highlight area until I have the area completely filled in. So I'm kind of finishing off coloring in the area with E23. And then I'm going to go back and add some more detail with my darkest shade, because after I colored on the other 2, it sort of lost a little bit of the contrast. And I wanted that back in because I wanted her hair to look nice and glossy and healthy. So I'm adding in more of this darkest shade. I'm going to grab the middle shade as well and add that because I wanted to just have a little bit more of a gradual transition of color. But you definitely could have I could have left it with just the one with the really dark areas. It could go either way. So this is how I love to color hair with Copic markers. And then the rest of the coloring was rather simple. I mainly used 1 to 2 colors for each section and added the lightest color first, and then the medium shade, and then went to the darkest shade, and then kind of in reverse order going back to get a really good blend. So one of the reasons why I wanted to really color this cat image, this popping out of the present, is because I have 2 cats myself, and I'm going to color this cat like my 2 cats. They are silver tabbies, so I'm using some neutral gray tones. I've just discovered that the neutral grays of Copic markers are the grays that look most similar to my cats, but there are actually 2 other kind of tones of gray. There's cool tone grays and warm tone grays. And then there's also the toner grays, but I'm not counting those. But the neutral ones are the ones that I like to use for gray animals. Okay, so the colors on the present and also the cupcake, I kind of struggled with this one today, but I did end up with some color combinations that I liked, but I wanted to show you the entire process because I started with this with purple, and then I eventually came in with and made the bow yellow, and this yellow kind of turned like a little bit of a dirty gold color that I'm like, that doesn't really go with the yellow. So I tried to add yellow to the cupcake, and this yellow was a little bit more of the bright yellow that I was thinking the other one would be. So I eventually came back and added a little bit of pink to that bow area, and it turns out a little bit orange. So it turned out well in the end, but I did have to kind of layer a lot of colors to try to get to the area, like the color combination that worked well for me. So I grabbed this Nouveau kind of glitter, I think they call it a gloss and glitter pen, added some shimmer to some different areas, and then came back in and added some additional color on the purple, just to add a little more. And I also added a tiny bit of pink up on the cupcake because that yellow was looking really, really bright. So here's all the coloring. I then grabbed some scissors and started to fussy cut these out, leaving a little bit of a white border around the outer edge. I didn't want to have to deal with that interior of her hair and cutting that out, so I thought it would be easiest just to leave a white border. And also the cat's whiskers would have been lost if I cut all the way up to the edge. Prepping my card base. This is some Nina Classic Crest Solar White 110-pound cardstock. Scored that at 5.5 to create a top folding card. Then I put a little bit of washi tape at the bottom just to hold it closed while I work on the background. I'm using the Stained Glass 1 stencil from Simon, and I'm putting a little bit of pixie spray on the back of the stencil just so that'll hold it in place while I do all my blending. I've picked out a nice pink color from the Simon Says Stamp ink line. This is Hollyhock, and I'm using a Honeybee blender brush. This is going to help me get a really soft blend of color radiating out from the center of this design, which I have positioned perfectly to go directly behind the girl after I adhere her to the card. I don't want too much of this color. I just want it to be a little hint of a pattern once I remove the stencil. So I'm going to lift this up and you'll be able to see just a little bit of that design. And a lot of that intense pink will be covered up by the image that I colored. So it's a very, very pale pink in the end. I've positioned the greeting from the stamp set just to go right underneath that area where I'll eventually adhere my images. And then I stamped that in some VersaFine Onyx Black ink. So I've put some foam adhesive on the back of all of these images, and then I'm placing them down onto the card front. That finishes the card for today. I love these. They're so cute. There's a few more images in the stamp set as well. And just a reminder that if you want to pick up this limited edition stamp set, you might want to do it sooner than later because once this stamp set is sold out, it will not be restocked. It is gone. Thanks so much for watching today, and I will catch you in another video very soon.